Well, for more, we're joined in studio now by Tetyana Ogarkova, a journalist at the Ukraine Crisis Media Centre. Thanks so much for being with us here at France 24, Tetyana. This is your first time leaving Ukraine since the start of the war. You're here in France for a festival. Just take us back, if you can, over the last 9 months and how it has been for you and your family and even the working conditions for you in Ukraine.
We are living very difficult times in Ukraine because, yes, indeed, the war is an experience which we never had before. It's difficult to describe this experience only using words, so you have to live it in a way. This is a very extraordinary feeling when you cross the border with Ukraine and you see normal life which we forgot for many months already, specifically after these missile strikes arriving everywhere in the territory of Ukraine and with this lack of electricity and water and heating. And we understand that we are facing extremely difficult times in December, January and February, but more than ever Ukrainians try their best to stay strong. There is a huge wave of solidarity between people, and we do understand that Russia is already starting to lose this war in military terms, in terms of in military context, but unfortunately they are still able to make these terrorist attacks against civilians. And each day we wake up and we go to the news and we see how many people died. A lot of innocent people die, unfortunately, in this war.
And coming into winter, obviously people are going to be concerned about the conditions there deteriorating even more. Freezing temperatures, electricity outages, people not even having access to water. How prepared are people? You seem to be suggesting that morale nevertheless remains quite high.
Yes, indeed, people in big cities are at high risk, in fact, because we have centralized system of heating and running water and electricity. I think every family thinks about the plan B, what to do in case of the total blackout. People will be going to villages because in villages you can use wood to produce some to high temperatures. You can use water from natural water, and I think that unfortunately it will affect lives of Ukrainians because there will be no school, which is extremely important for families with kids, as like our family. We are worried about that, how our kids will be able or not able to go to school, because this is not only the question about survival. We will survive this winter. It's also about standards of life and about some progress. Ukraine is a European country, and we used to have the same standards of life, almost same standards of life like here in France. So we hope to stay strong during this winter, and we do understand that our armed forces, I mean Ukrainian troops, are doing whatever they can, and they are extremely efficient in what they are doing in this counteroffensive, not only in Kherson region as this brilliant operation which took place a couple of weeks ago, but they will continue, and we do hope that we will see Mariupol liberated and Melitopol liberated and Crimea liberated as well.
And in terms of the missile strikes that we saw again coming from Russia, the energy infrastructure being targeted, the government now is warning again of the potential risk of nuclear catastrophe in Ukraine. It is a warning we have heard before, but how worried are people about that possibility now if this ongoing campaign continues by Moscow?
There's always a risk. When we are facing Russia, there's always a risk of a strike against a nuclear plant, as we've seen many times around Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant. I would not say that Ukrainians are in panic. I think that yes, indeed, people are worrying about any kind of possibilities, but not a lot of people are quitting Ukraine at that very moment. Even after these severe strikes against energy infrastructure, people tend to stay. Families tend to stay. They are not moving a lot to European countries, and we do hope that we'll be able to face this reality and to adapt ourselves in order to go through the 3 months, the most difficult months for us, December, January and February, and things will be much easier for us starting from March and April.
Finally, Tetyana, you mentioned there that you believe that Ukraine will defeat Russia. What do you make of the Russian strategy? We had a Kremlin spokesperson this morning calling on Kyiv to end suffering, as he put it, by beginning negotiations. What do you think that tells us about the Russian strategy and how Moscow is faring?
Russian strategy is very clear. They want to force us into negotiations, but this is not about negotiations. This is about their version of the history and their version of their victory. We will never accept that because there is no. We already know what does it mean, this Russian occupation. We've seen. I've been personally to Bucha, Irpin. I've been to Izium, to the mass graves. I've been many times to Kharkiv. We do know what does it mean to be under Russian occupation. This is not about civilization. This is not about life. This is not about standards of life. This is about the death. This is about domination. And Ukrainians will never let Russians do so. So we'll try to do whatever we can to stay strong, to stay together. And we do hope that our European partners, our friends of Europe and from the United States will stand with us.
Okay, Tetyana, thank you so much for being with us here on the programme today. That is Tetyana Ogarkova, journalist at the Ukraine Crisis Media Centre. Thanks so much.